You tell someone your life story before you even know their last name, and halfway through, you feel it, that quiet wave of regret. You replay it later in bed. Why did I say all that? You promise yourself next time you'll hold back, but next time comes, and it happens again. Why? Why does your mouth move faster than your sense of safety? And why does staying guarded feel almost unbearable? There's a reason, and it's not what you think. Oversharing doesn't feel reckless at the moment. It feels relieving, like exhaling after holding your breath for years. You meet someone new. They ask a simple question, "How have you been?" And somehow, within minutes, you're talking about your childhood, your heartbreak, your fears. It feels honest, real, intimate. But later, alone, your nervous system shifts. You analyze their reaction. Did they judge you? Did you overwhelm them? Did you scare them away? Oversharing quietly shapes your identity. You become the intense one, the one who's too much, the one who gets attached fast. It affects your decisions. You trust quickly. You bond quickly. You expect depth immediately. And when others move slower, you interpret it as distance, rejection. This pattern isn't random. It's often linked to what psychology calls anxious attachment tendencies. Not a diagnosis, a pattern, a nervous system that equates closeness with safety and distance with threat. But here's the part no one explains. Oversharing isn't about honesty, it's about control. And that's where it gets interesting. You're not broken, you're adaptive. At some point in your life, the slow connection didn't feel safe. Maybe attention was inconsistent. Maybe emotional presence was unpredictable. Maybe vulnerability was the only way to get closeness. Your brain learned something powerful. If I reveal everything quickly, they'll feel closer to me faster. It's not manipulation, it's survival logic. Your nervous system is trying to reduce uncertainty, because uncertainty to the brain feels like danger. Oversharing is not a flaw in your personality. It's an attempt to force emotional security before it naturally develops. It's your brain saying, let's skip the waiting. Waiting feels unsafe. But why does waiting feel unsafe in the first place? Let's slow this down. Your brain is built for connection. From a neuroscience perspective, social belonging activates reward circuits involving dopamine and oxytocin. Closeness literally feels regulating. But uncertainty activates something else, the amygdala, the brain's threat detection system. When you meet someone new, your brain scans for signals. Are they safe? Are they consistent? Will they stay? If you have a history of unpredictable closeness, your brain becomes hyper-aware of ambiguity. Ambiguity feels like standing on unstable ground. So what does the brain do? It tries to stabilize it. Here's the metaphor. Imagine connection as a bridge being built between two people. Healthy connection builds plank by plank, slow, stable, but your nervous system doesn't trust slow, so it throws all the planks down at once. Personal stories, secrets, emotional depth. You're not building a bridge, you're trying to teleport to the other side. Now, here's the mental model. Oversharing is a shortcut strategy. Your brain believes fast intimacy equals fast safety. But safety built too quickly often collapses, because true emotional security requires reciprocity and time. There's also another mechanism at play. Self-disclosure activates reward pathways. Studies show that talking about yourself lights up the same areas as food and money. It feels good. It reduces internal pressure, especially if you've been holding things in. So oversharing becomes a self-soothing behavior, temporary relief, long-term instability. And once you see it this way, something shifts. Because now the question isn't, how do I stop being like this? It's, how do I feel safe with slowness? This isn't about shutting down, it's about pacing. Here are 4 principles, not to control yourself, but to regulate your nervous system. What to do? When you feel the urge to reveal something deep, pause for 10 seconds. Ask yourself, is this about connection or about relieving anxiety? Why it works. The pause activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for regulation and impulse control. It reduces amygdala-driven urgency. You're creating a gap between emotion and action. Real-life example. You're on a second date. They mention family. You feel the urge to explain your entire childhood trauma. Instead, you share one small piece. Then you stop. You let the bridge build one plank at a time. What to do? Share at the same depth the other person is sharing. If they stay surface level, you stay near the surface. Why it works. Human bonding relies on reciprocity. When depth is mismatched, the brain interprets it as imbalance. Matching regulates social safety signals. Your nervous system learns that connection can be mutual, not forced. Real-life example. A coworker talks about weekend plans. Instead of shifting to your existential fears, you talk about yours. Connection grows in rhythm, not leaps. What to do? When someone doesn't respond immediately or doesn't open up quickly, resist filling the silence with more vulnerability. Sit with the discomfort for 90 seconds. Why it works. Emotions peak and fall like waves. If you don't act on them, the nervous system recalibrates. This is basic affect regulation. You teach your brain, uncertainty is uncomfortable, but not dangerous. Real-life example. You send a message, no reply for hours. You want to send something vulnerable to pull them closer. Instead, you put your phone down. You breathe. The wave passes. What to do? Journal the things you want to share. Process them with safe, established relationships or with a therapist. Why it works. Self-disclosure regulates emotion, but when it's outsourced to strangers, it destabilizes attachment. Creating internal processing pathways reduces the urgency to externalize everything. You still get the dopamine relief, but without risking fragile bonds. Real-life example. After meeting someone new, instead of texting them a long emotional confession, you write it in a notebook. You realize something. You didn't want them to fix it. You just needed it expressed. Here's the simple model. Connection is not a sprint. It's a nervous system negotiation. Your brain wants certainty. It wants safety. It wants closeness now. But real intimacy isn't built by intensity. It's built by consistency. Imagine connection as a dimmer switch, not a light switch. Oversharing flips it fully on. But sustainable closeness slowly turns the dial. When you pace yourself, you're not suppressing who you are. You're allowing space for the other person to walk towards you, not just react to you. And something surprising happens. Slowness stops feeling like rejection. It starts feeling like stability. You overshare because you crave safety. Because somewhere in your past, waiting felt like losing. But you're not in that past anymore. You don't have to rush to secure a place in someone's life. The right connection doesn't require you to prove your depth immediately. It unfolds, and you are allowed to unfold with it. Next time you feel the urge to reveal everything at once, pause, not to hide, but to build. Because real intimacy isn't created by how much you say. It's created by what you allow to grow over time. And maybe, for the first time, you'll realize that slowness was never the threat. It was the bridge.